Hey everyone, I've got some big news for Fisker stock investors. And in this video, I'll go over that news and what it could mean for Fisker stock holders. Now, it's going to be a brief video, so let's get right into it. The news is that Fisker made its first 22 deliveries of Fisker Ocean SUV to customers in the United States. Up until now, the company had made a few deliveries in Europe, but none yet in the US. It was waiting for approval from regulatory authorities. Now that's through. It started making deliveries to its first US customers. That's big news for Fisker. So 22 initial deliveries are for the Ocean Launch Edition SUV, and that's the premium model of the company's products at $68,000. Uh, Coming in at the higher end of the market, competing with other SUVs, electric SUVs like the Rivian. The Rivian model is priced more expensively, but more importantly, the company's coming out with the sport model, the electric SUV that's going to start at 37,492. So when that model comes out, that's going to draw some interest from customers because it's going to be on the lower end of the pricing range, even lower than the Tesla model. I believe it's the Model X. That's the lower priced Tesla SUV. So good things starting for Fisker, which could really use it. The company, let me show you its cash position. Fisker has $652 million in cash left, and in its most recent quarter, it only went through 84 million. So negative 84 million. Given that it has 652 million, it could continue on that pace for around 8 quarters without running out of cash. Now, the big thing for the next big thing for investors to look for with Fisker is when it reports to give us an update on the contribution profit for per vehicle. Now, this is different from the gross profit margin. The gross profit margin will likely be negative for Fisker, but what's key is the contribution profit, meaning when it makes a car and sells it, is that positive for the company's cash balance? Is that positive for the company's cash balance? The gross profit margin is a little bit different because it incorporates some overhead costs and other costs that the company's going to have to pay anyways. It's going to have to pay those costs anyways. So when it makes a car and sells it, is that adding to the company's cash balance or is it taking away from the company's cash balance? That's the key to find out, because if it's adding to the company's cash balance, that means with the more cars it makes and delivers, it just helps the company's cash position. It won't need to go back into the capital markets. I'm sorry, I should say it's unlikely to need to go back to the capital markets. However, if it's still negative in terms of producing and selling each car, then that's still going to put the company in a very high risk position, because with each car it sells, it keeps losing more and more money, and that's going to take it further and further closer to running out of money and coming back to the capital markets to raise more capital at an inopportune situation, right? It's not a good situation to go try and raise money when you're burning through cash and you're losing money on each sale of a car, compared to if you're doing good and you're making positive contribution profit each vehicle, and then let's say you go to the capital markets to borrow money, you can do so in a better bargaining position, because now you've got your business at a sustainable level and you're just raising money to maybe you're refinancing debt that you had earlier at higher costs, or maybe you're borrowing money so that you stop shareholder dilution or buy back shares. So it's a whole nother ball game depending on how you go into the capital markets. Are you going in a moment of desperation, or are you going in a moment of opportunism to try and lower your cost of capital? In any case, this is big news for Fisker stock investors. Positive news to be sure, moving in the right direction, and hopefully more of this kind of news can come out in the future for Fisker stock investors. But that's all I've got for this video. Thank you so much for watching.
I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/Parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.